Always takes like a second. Come on. Boom! All right, we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Where to Hunt podcast. This is the live session. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube, or at least I hope I'm live on both. And before I jump into the topic and bring our guest on, I need to do my shout out to, I'll show you on the screen here, Backwoods Grind Coffee. This is the coffee that produces the energy to actually do this show. If anybody knows me at all, if you're getting to know me, I run a freaking marathon every single day. Not an actual marathon, but I'm doing a lot of shit all the time. I don't stop. I go quick. I go hard. I'm always on, and Backwoods Grind is a big part of that. So big shout out to those guys. If you want to feel anywhere near as closely energized as me and do a shit ton with your time, go ahead and go to backwoodsgrind.com, and you can enter in code W2H podcast for 10% off. So I also drink scotch every episode, so if anyone knows a scotch company that wants to sponsor the show, that'd be great. I'm going to bring my guest on for the day. I'm very excited, super jacked to bring on Clint Casper. What up, dude?
What's going on, my man? Pumped to be on.
Fucking A. Dude, I feel like we were just jamming a little bit before I hit the record button, and it's funny because in some weird way, I feel like I know you, but we've never met. Like, I've never met you, and it's this weird day and age where I've heard you on other shows, and I'm glad that you have carved out the time to hang out with me tonight, dude.
Oh, hell yeah, my man. That's the cool thing about social media and stuff like we were talking about is you almost feel like you get to know people that live maybe even halfway across the world or the country or whatever, and you've just you're kind of in a mindset of where it's almost like you're buddies, but you've never shook hands. And back in the day, that was like the big thing. You know, you shook hands and you looked each other in the eye and you met one another. And now it's like you can kind of have that same mentality and literally you're, 15 states away sometimes or 20 states away. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I'm pumped. Definitely feels like we've connected on a lot of different levels as far as, just kind of how we go about the daily stuff. The spiel on the coffee, man, I feel like that's it's me for sure. It's like I'm up in the morning and it's just full throttle, wide the fuck open right now from start to finish.
Dude, for sure. Like, I mean, whatever, everyone's got their own shit, right? But I have pretty big goals for 2019, and one of them is just leading by example and being an exemplar and trying to do freaking great things. And I don't know, I wake up at 5 in the morning and I go to the gym right away, and then I go to work, and then I work all day right at the day job, try to do a fucking bang up job there, and then come home and do more of this stuff, right? Because this is shit that I really love. I can talk to fucking cool guys like you.
Man, I mean, I'm with you 100%. I don't know how cool I'm classified as.
I was waiting for you to say something else. Maybe
I don't know how cool I'm classified as, dude, but yeah, I don't know if I'm that cool or not. But I will say though, I'm freaking pumped to be on, and it's a pretty cool platform you got going on here, man. And I'm excited to be a part of it and get to jam out with you for a little while here on this platform and this podcast. So hell yeah, my man, pumped.
Well, let's unpack the freaking the sack here a little bit, and just, dude, there's people that don't know you. That's great. There's people that do know you. That's even better. Let's take a second to just who is Clint Casper? Where are you from? How long you been hunting? What's your weapon of choice? Do you got a favorite animal? Et cetera, et cetera. Just take a minute, dude, and I'll wind you up and let you go.
Yeah, my man. We'll do the old fire off segment. Proud dad of two. Got two little guys. Easton's 3 years old, and my littlest guy, Keaton's going to be turning 6 months. So super pumped about getting to be a dad, and man, love them little guys. It's awesome being able to share, starting to really share with Easton, the 3-year-old, my passion for farming and the outdoors and whatnot, and it'll be the same with Keaton the older he gets. But born and raised right here in the good old Midwest. Ohio farm boy, nice. 3rd generation dairy farmer. So been grain farming, dairy farming, beef farmer, etc.
So you have no work ethic at all,
dairy
right?
Cows.
Like you just don't know what work's like.
Absolutely,
Your hands are calloused.
Dude, I'm a gamer. I like to just let me game, man. As soon as I get off here, dude, I get to go on Xbox Live and I can get it. So yeah, I don't really know about calloused hands, No, no, nothing against gamers, but I'm just just throw that out there.
Gamer
But
tag would be
no,
if you had one. Like, is it the Ohio Butcher, like D-Rock calls you from East Coast, or what? That would be a funny one. The fuck's this Ohio Butcher laying mayhem down on Call of Duty?
Ohio Butcher. I told him I'm gonna use that as my new Pornhub handle, Ohio Butcher. But no, man. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he loved that one. You know how he is. But yeah, no. Just man, grew up around the outdoors and farming, and it was awesome to grow up. Milking cows and just being around that lifestyle really kind of set the stage for just the work ethic and hard work pays off, and had two great teachers and role models and both my mom and my dad, and it was awesome to grow up and be able to be raised in that kind of atmosphere. And yeah, I mean, just got into hunting at a young age. I can remember squirrel hunting and stuff with Dad, whenever I was, 5-6 years old with, the little single shot 22s and stuff. And, just always had a passion for it. Started shotgun hunting with a 410 when I got that for my 10th birthday. And then from that point on, man, it was just, I don't know how many deer I missed those first couple of years because I would just get so freaking excited. And then I figured out after a few years, probably 10, 15, literally. And I figured out after a few years, like, okay, I love sports, but I have this like crazy burning desire and passion for deer hunting. So our shotgun season only lasts a week. So I'm like, how do I figure out how to do this longer? And the answer was archery, picking up a bow.
Yep,
and that's honestly, when I was about 12, that's where the ball started going downhill, and it all went into psycho mode from there. No, but yeah. So good family friend down the road, Joe Evans, Evans Taxidermy, still does my taxidermy work to this day. He was a big bow hunter, big traditional guy, and he kind of took me under his wing because Dad being a dairy farmer and stuff. I mean, man, no one in my family bow hunted. I mean, it's just with having the farms and everything, man. I mean, they just didn't have time to get into that. So he kind of took me under my wing, and I really got into shooting a bow. I mean, there was just something about watching an arrow fly out of a bow that you're holding in your hand that just mesmerized me from day one. And honestly, from the time I was 12, 13 and bought my first, I got a 45-pound Bear Kodiak that I could only pull back about 3/4 of the way. So I was probably only pulling about 32, 33 pounds, but that's besides the point. But from that day on, man,
you got a little bit more muscle. And
yeah. Oh, hell yeah, man. I can do 7 or 8 solid push-ups now. I mean, I'm in good shape, brother. But from that point on, it's definitely been just burning desire for sure. I mean, I got nothing against, guns. And, I mean, I love guns. I love shooting guns. But, man, I mean, from that point on, it just started really to be archery. And here the last 8 or 9 years, it's been strictly archery only. I mean, I'm just totally a bow guy. That's just my gig. That's my jam. I like getting close. I love having the stick and string in my hands at all times. I'm that psycho that carries the bow around during gun season when I've got a deer tag in my pocket. I mean, I throw the orange on and I'm
gun hunting. You're that guy.
Oh yeah, no, it's been I have not. It's been 8 or 9 years since I've gun hunted in the essence of actually went out and would have filled a buck tag if the opportunity presented itself with a gun. Yeah, it's been 8 or 9 years. I mean, I go with my family every year on opening morning. I mean, I carry a gun, but literally I'm there as a deer driver, and I'm there as if a coyote runs by, I'm good to go there. But big buck jumps up and I've got a buck tag, I'll be yelling which direction he's going and who he's going to run by and trying to help out, but you won't see me pull up. It's bow only, man, for me. It's been about 8 or 9 years now I've been like that, and I love it, dude. When I go out west, I hunt a lot of rifle season tags with my bow. People are like, you're nuts, and I'm like, no, I needed a tag in October and I could get a rifle tag and use my bow, that's fine by me. I have no problem throwing the orange on and grabbing the bow. Actually, 2 years ago in Montana, I shot my antelope during rifle season with my bow, and it was pretty wild to be hearing everybody crack rifles. That was 76.
Holy shit.
Yep, he was 76. And I just, yeah, I mean, like I said, I love guns. I own a bunch of guns. I got nothing against, the guys that use every weapon. Honestly, there's times where I wish I had that mentality because it creates more opportunities. It really does.
Right,
but for me, man, I just love, my jam is watching an arrow disappear behind the shoulder or something. I mean, that's what sets me off, dude. That's why I do it. And I just, I honestly don't get as much out of it unless I'm doing it that way. And I've just learned over the years that I would rather, get it done every other year with a bow than to say I got it done every year with a gun. It's just me. It's just my mentality. It's just how I do it.
Well, that intrinsic reward is there for you, and that's how you get it, dude. Then you got to do what you got to do, and who fucking cares what anyone else thinks? I mean, so what? Dude, that's fucking great. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, to this day, I have found nothing. Well, I mean, maybe there's some things, but really to me, shooting a bow is one of the most therapeutic things. And even thinking about shooting a bow is the same version of that therapy. Like, if I get stressed out, I just think, okay, I'm gonna pull back, right? And I'm gonna think about my shot and I'm gonna let it fly. And you're right, watching that arrow fly through the air, man. I don't know if it's going back to our primitive fucking bones, and our DNA that's in our blood flowing through our system. Like, it feels good.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, for me, it's just, it's just one of them deals where I just feel at home. And I'm as confident as, I tell people all the time, at 50 yards, I honestly feel like, and would almost guarantee I can shoot a tighter group with my bow than I would with my shotgun. I just have that confidence in myself with my bow or one of my bows that's just where I'm at. That's just kind of my mindset is I almost feel like I'm out there, naked during gun season when I don't have it. And, but like as a family, we do a lot of deer drives and whatnot. Cause like my brother and my dad and different people, they don't get a ton of time off with their jobs and with what they're doing like I do. So, they're trying to make the most of hunting a couple times a year.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so it's fun. It's exciting to be part of, some of the slow drives and the deer pushes and it's like a family tradition that we've been doing, since we were just little kids, me and my brother with my dad and family and friends. So yeah, I love it. I look forward to it. It's fun, to get geared up, and hey, if a big buck jumps up in front of me and I've had him stand right there at 50 yards and look back at me like, hey, where are you? And I always look at it as, well,
I'm Clint motherfucking Casper. That's what you tell the buck when he asks.
Yeah,
you just whisper, and the wind carries the whisper to their ears, and they pick up. They're like, okay, dude, I'll come back. I'll come back. You're right here on broadside for you, buddy.
I look at him right in the eye, and I just tell him, today's your lucky fucking day that I don't have the bow in my hand. This is your lucky day. Now I've seen you. It's like, what's his name? Who is it? Liam? Who's always he's in the he's always in those movies that about like the daughter that gets kidnapped. Yeah. And he's always like, and he, I will find you and I will kill you. It's like that's how it is in gun season. If I see a big buck and I'm like, okay, I can't do anything about it right now because I'm not going to shoot you with my gun. But guess what? You've let me see you. I now know you. Like that's honestly how I look at it, to try to keep myself from being like devastated that I just had a giant in front of me at 30 yards and couldn't do anything.
I have a certain set of skills.
I'm like, yep, okay. I have a certain set of skills. I have now seen you. I see where you live. I will find you and I will kill you. That's how I look at it.
That's funny as shit, dude. The Liam Neeson of fucking deer killing right here.
I'm gonna as soon as this gun season bullshit's over, I'm gonna throw the Lone Wolf custom gear in my back, and it's time for me to go in with the sneak attack and whack your ass.
The only time Clint Casper sees a deer's sees a freaking whitetail is when they lift their tail to take a shit because they just crap themselves walking past you. No, dude, they ain't running
I
from
wish
me.
it was
They
like
just shit
that.
themselves. It's okay. I got this.
I wish it was. I wish it was like that.
You can have more haters.
I wish I
You're
could
gonna have
just.
more haters, and I'll be like, dude, that's how he does it. You gotta be fucking kidding me. That's not fair.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll be like, oh, that's how he does it. Oh yeah. If I was that guy, I could just will them to death.
I was talking to my buddy Joel. He's one of my closest pals, and he actually I just did a call out for him on the Huntland podcast. Sergeant in the Marine Corps for 10 fucking years, 2 tours to Iraq. Just a great dude, and he
Oh hell yeah!
like,
hats off to him.
Thank you, dude. He's a fucking great guy. Anyway, he said, well, dude, why don't you ask him like what his hardest hunt was, and maybe what his easiest hunt was. Like, has he ever hunted naked? Because that sounds like it'd be pretty hard. I'm like, I don't know, man, but I'm gonna ask now. So here we go. Let's get weird.
Yeah, hunted naked.
I'm like, why?
Man, I don't. I mean, I don't. Not that I can recall. Now, I have been caught with pants down in the woods before, and in moments of oh shit, yep, I'm gonna need to pinch this one off or whatnot. But yeah, not naked, but yeah, I guess you could say partially. But yeah, no, that's a good one.
I was taking a piss, and he just came right up this like no shit, like I had to pinch it off. I was like, oh my god, and I got lucky I brought it with me because I'm not a total idiot, and Unfortunately, I didn't shoot him because I didn't have the conversation with my dad because I already shot a buck, and if I could use his tag, and hindsight's 20/20, I should have shot the fucking thing, but I didn't. But yeah, dude, it was one of those moments, dick in hand. Here comes a buck,
Yep.
Of course.
Hell yeah, absolutely, man. It seems like it always does happen like that, but yeah, no, it's funny he brought up tough hunts and easy hunts because I mean every hunt's different and every adventure is different, and it's that's what I like about. I always use the phrase and whatnot, adventure bow hunting, just because it's it just seems like they're always adventures no matter what I'm doing or where I'm at. It always ends up being, even the hunts that you'd coin happened quick or they were easy. I mean, really, when you think about it, it just, the stars aligned and it sounded easy or it seemed easy, but in walking around in the shoes that I was in, it wasn't as easy as it looked. But because it was a shorter trip or it was a shorter, time frame, but some of my hardest hunts have actually been some short stuff. I mean, I just got back with Brian Barney and went out there to Montana and chased spring bears around in Montana with him this spring. I was only out there 3.5 days, and we covered about, oh man, I forget. I think it was like 53, 54 miles in those couple days. And, I mean, just hoofing it. Cause I mean, we had a limited amount of time. So, I mean, just trying to frickin' kill it every day, 13, 14 miles. And I mean, it was, we saw a lot of bears. I mean, it was fun, but I mean, it was tough. I mean, we were freaking biking, we were hiking, we were using the mountain bikes to get into some spots. Yeah, I mean, and it was only a couple day hunt, but I mean, dude, I mean, it was as physical could get, hour in and hour out. So yeah, no, it's cool that he brought that up because, obviously the long, grueling hunts. I mean, anyone that's, read anything I write about or listened to me on podcasts or has ever met me, I mean, I'm a freaking nut when it comes to the solo backcountry stuff. I mean, I love packing in and freaking, putting steel on steel and going at it for 8, 9, 10, 12 days by myself in the backcountry. I mean, I just feel like that's where I get to test myself, and I train all year for that shit, and I think about that all year. And I mean, I love those hunts. I mean, and they're brutal. They're tough. They're just a mental daily grind. Oh yeah, just a total grind. I mean, just you're battling yourself, minute by minute every single day, to mentally stay in it and physically stay in it. And I mean, I love those, I love those grinds and those battles, but those are different from like that's a different grind than like the grind here in whitetail season. Like here in Ohio, about 2 years, for example, I hunted a one buck. And I hunted 97 days till I killed him. I started the end of September, didn't kill him till January 13th. Damn. And it ended up being 97 total days of chasing that deer. And I never even drew my bow back one time until the night that I actually killed him. And, that was a mental grind, probably harder than anything I've done because there were bucks that I was letting walk that I probably shouldn't have been, but I was just so mentally
fixated on that
like I was just so mentally cast at killing this one buck that, I just couldn't bring myself to jumping off him and going to another. And, it ended up getting to the point where, it was mentally probably the toughest season hunt I've ever had, just because it literally started in September and didn't end till January. And I mean,
when you're chasing
the ups and the downs, and
that's totally a different game. But dude, hold up real quick, because we got a caller on the line. I'm gonna bring him in. It's the casting couch director of East Coast Bowhunter podcast. So I'm not sure which one of these goofballs we're gonna bring in, but they're here. What's up, guys?
Oh boy.
What's going on, Playboy?
Oh, look who it is. It's D.
Oh, look who it is. Oh boy.
Hanging out there with we had you hanging out for like 3 minutes, just chilling. I changed that piano music to the show so you could listen in.
Yeah, that's dope. Actually, it's a good listen. I had to call in to. I was listening to Casper's sultry voice, so it was better than the piano music. You know what I mean?
I probably sued the pants right off you.
Talk about mental toughness. D-Rock's doing a 5K a day.
Heck yeah, that's awesome, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm down 20 pounds. I was a chubby motherfucker, so now I'm actually down to dad bod status. I'm trying to creep up to Clint Casper status.
Did you
now.
Say you have a chubby?
Working on it anyways.
Is that what you said?
I was chubby.
Oh, you were chubby.
For my
okay. Just trying to keep it weird here, guys. That's all.
Hell yeah, that old D-Rock, that's awesome, my man. I noticed last time I took your panties off, they slid off a little easier, so I can tell you've been losing the weight, my man. I'm pumped about that.
Thanks, man. I'm just trying to make it easier for you so you could get some quicker. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep you anticipating.
That belt you had a couple notches, huh?
I appreciate it.
Hey, man, whatever makes getting to the G-string quicker. I know y'all saw that video.
I love it. I love the flavor of that video, man. That's funny as shit. So, D-Rock, you got some questions for Clint? I know you've had him on your show. You've asked him everything there is to ask. What do you got cooking there?
No, actually, I actually had like two more pages of outline when I had him on the show. So it's great for you to have an interactive show. So this way, us as a listener can really touch base on other things that come up and arose. Like, for example,
call. Sorry, guys. We got one other guy in here with us.
No. Go ahead.
What up? What up?
Do you know the voice?
What up?
The voice. Motherfucking Kurt Geyer.
Gang, gang.
Yeah.
Gang, gang. Gang.
Oh, God. We're doing this. I was just out shooting my bow and listening to you guys, so I figured I'd call in and let everybody know that I was doing what I was supposed to.
Rock on.
Word.
Hell yeah.
Amen, brother. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually fine-tuning the ritual, so this way I could come bring the heat for the shoot.
I'm actually going to be trying
that.
Broadheads soon with the Huntland guys, Greg and Jeff, so we got to get that freaking going here. And actually, I'm going to be seeing you guys at the shoot this Saturday.
Oh, you're coming? I didn't know you were actually making your way out.
Oh, yeah, man. I registered. I got the $20 in my wallet. We're good to go. It's like a 3.5-hour drive from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, but I'll be there, man. Bringing some Hubbleton brews with me. Man. They're a sponsor for the other show that I'm on, so I'm looking forward to just meeting you guys. I told D-Rock I'm going to give him a hug.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. It's going to be a good time. And the cool thing about it is, like, we had to kind of cut off, like, capacity because of, like, how many people it's a private property we're having it on. But next year, we're already having talks. It's going to be, like, 5 times as big because we're going to have it at a local archery club where it's, like, there's camping. Everybody can come out, do their thing, and stay all night. And it's a 2-day shoot next year. So
that's dope. That's real dope.
Yeah.
Clint, you going?
Heck yeah, it is.
Clint's hunting.
Not going to make it, my man.
Ah, man, you're freaking pecker teeth.
I wasn't going to burst your bubble on this show because I didn't want, I didn't want that intensity to go away. But I mean, I guess now is the time. But we got shows coming up. And it won't be long. It'll be trade show time, and we'll be at Deer and Turkey Expos, and I'm already locked in on a bunch of that. So don't you worry. You're going to get to make out with me before it's all said and done, my man.
Thought I was going to have to do the game solo again.
I heard that call, man.
So, okay,
So what's good?
D-Rock, I was
What's
just
good,
interrupting
Kurt?
you because Kurt jumped on. So, D-Rock, you go, and then Kurt, you're up next. And then when Kurt goes, D-Rock, I'll plop you off, and then same thing. We'll just keep it rolling here.
Okay, I'm going to
Damn,
shoot
I
my
feel
bow while I listen.
I feel like a piece of meat all of a sudden. What the
'Cause we
hell's
got
going on
people
here?
in the queue, so this is crazy.
Hey, so Clint, what I wanted to ask is, for the Montana bear that you went out for, what was your approach to that hunt as far as? And I'm sorry if to make it sound redundant if you talked about it already, but what approach did you take? Because I know you only had 3 days to try to make something happen, and I mean, did you already have, like, you obviously you hit up your topos before jumping in, but when you were there, what was your game plan going in?
Yeah, so basically the game plan for, me and Brian was just to hit spots that we knew were going to have the greenest feed. In that springtime phase, when those bears were coming out of dens, and as that snow line's melting and whatnot, I mean, you're literally keying in on the greenest features. So your little hidden meadows, your little hidden parks, the little hidden basins that have the neon green feed, that's what those bears are feeding on, and that's what they're keying in on. You've also got their rut that was just starting to kick off, and I actually got to watch a boar chase a sow around when I was out there. I mean, he was dogging her, and I mean really getting after it. So that was kind of the main feature we were looking for was, okay, where's the most neon green secluded feed? And what you're basically trying to do is you're trying to get on these vantage points and glass these key features. And you basically want to cover as much ground as you can, because bears don't really have typically a schedule pattern. I mean, you could have a bear pop out at 2 that popped out the morning before at 7, that might pop out 3 nights later at 5. I mean, they don't really, they're just kind of foraging around throughout the day. They lay down, they sleep for a little bit, they get up, they feed, they move. The rut's starting to kick in, so some of the boars are out traveling country looking for a hot sow. So our approach was, with a short limited time, was cover as much ground and key in and pack into as many of these really good features we could glass off of each day as we could, and just basically try to bounce into as many bears as we could till we found solid boar to go after and put stocks on. And we ended up seeing 9 bears in those 3 days, and we utilized the mountain bikes. There was a couple times where we was able to cover a lot of ground quick, riding in and riding out with the bikes, and then we hiked a ton. So the freaking bikes, man, I mean, I call those things the freaking death machines, because I mean, out there with the elevation, and I mean, it's like I love them and I hate them. I mean, you can cover a lot of ground, but man, your freaking legs are just burning when you get off those things at the end of the day. But I mean, they are a tool to help you cover a ton of ground, in a quick amount of time. So yeah, no, man, that was basically the main key feature was, just to get on those main features and glass, and let the glass do your walking for you, and just try to cover as much good bear country as you could in those 3 days, and try to bounce into one. And I mean, we got within 70 yards, well within striking range, on 2 different boars, and it just got back to full draw once, actually twice on the one bear, and then didn't get back to full draw on the other one. But I mean, it was close, man. I mean, it could have went either way on both those encounters. Both solid, probably 5.5, 6 foot boars. One was a jet black and one was a big chocolate. So yeah, man, always fun. Was pumped to get out there and hunt with my good buddy Brian Barney. He runs Easton's Elevated podcast. Super cool dude. Always jacked to get out there and hunt with him and catch up with everybody out there in Montana and stuff. So yeah, no, man, it was freaking fun. And I always look forward to that hunt. It's tough. I mean, success rate with a bow on public on spot and stock bears, I don't even know if it'd be 3%. So, I mean, it's one of them hunts that you're going into, and it's going to be a freaking kick-ass but a super hard hunt. I just heard that bow go off, and I'm pretty sure Kurt was spot on that shot. I'm not exactly sure, but it just sounded good to me. I'm just throwing that out there. It just sounded good.
It did sound good.
Sorry, that was just me just shooting.
That's D-Rock.
Oh, well, that's probably why
Kurt-
it sounded
Kurt-
so good, because it was D-Rock.
Kurt is a better shot than me, so don't get it twisted.
We'll see this weekend, fellas. We'll see this weekend.
There you go.
Hey,
Hell
what's funny
yeah.
is I don't really get to shoot that much at the shoot, which is
You're too busy freaking
kind of to be expected.
organizing the event, huh?
Yeah, and sweating and bush lights.
He's got to be greeting people, kissing babies, signing G-strings. I mean, it's Kurt motherfucking Geyer over there. He ain't got time to shoot.
Yeah, mostly just signing G-strings. That's about all I do.
Hell yeah. Well, see, that's what I love about the shoot is while he's distracted, I can be over in the corner like, hey, Sam, what up, girl? What are you doing?
Yeah. Taking care of old
Careful,
news.
he's going to have a bow in his hand.
Heck yeah.
You said taking care of old news. Oh, shit.
He's out here with me now, holding the baby while I shoot my bow. So
Hell yeah. Shout out
damn.
to my two girls. Shout out to them.
hey, Clint.
Hey.
D-Rock, I'm gonna bring you off, and then Kurt, let's get to your question. We got a couple more callers actually hanging on the queue, so we'll keep her moving, guys, just to keep her moving, I guess. I'm still learning how to do all this call queue stuff, so.
Yeah, so I'll just ask my question, and then I'll dip out.
Thanks for calling, D-Rock. You the man.
All right,
Appreciate
keep it real, fellas. See y'all soon. And,
Appreciate it.
Get back to the couch, brother.
Appreciate it, D-Rock. Talk to you soon, my man.
All right, peace. Love you.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'll ask my question. I'm going to dip off and then just go back to listening and shooting my bow. Clint, if someone I'm asking from a perspective from another person. So if someone out there hasn't killed a big deer with a bow, and that's their goal this season, and they just somehow couldn't seem to figure out the formula, what are like the top two things you could tell them to where they can map it out to have better chances to accomplish that goal?
Top two things for the guy looking to get it done this year on a big buck, right? That's what we're after, correct?
Yep. For someone that hasn't been able to figure it out before.
If it's me, I'm gonna say patience number one, and persistent number two. I mean, you can get techie on the different strategies and doing this in early season and doing, I do this then and I do this in the rut and I do this in late season, but everybody's different. Everyone's hunting ground, whether it's public or private, it's different. Biggest thing that I think guys, have to have in their head is that the mental aspect of it's going to take time and it's probably going to be a grind. I mean, it's not, a lot of times it doesn't happen overnight. And I think guys just need to be like, look, I'm in it for the long haul. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I'm going to get an opportunity. I just got to keep hunting until I get it. And once I get it, I'm going to capitalize on it. So I would say, for guys out there they're right there and they're just trying to get, they're right at the top of the hill and they're trying to just need a little bit of a bump to get to the top and start over the other side. I think, honestly, it's just going to be a matter of, sticking to your game plans and sticking to your guns and don't get frustrated and enjoy yourself. I mean, enjoy the early season, enjoy the rut, enjoy, and if it takes you all year, it takes you all year. But I think guys look for quick success, and I think guys get so infatuated with killing big deer, and they want it so bad that when they don't have immediate success, maybe it's the early season hunt, or maybe it's even into the rut, then they start to get discouraged. And yeah, man, patience and persistence. And I think if you're gonna go on like gear, like if you're gonna say, okay, well, what's something that a guy needs to have, like, to be successful if he's gonna hunt through an entire year or something like that. I talk about it and I write about it all the time. I mean, I'm a mobile guy. I'm a very big fan of the mobile setups. Hang and bang, whether it's a lock on, whether it's, climbers. I mean, obviously everybody knows I'm a huge fan of, Lone Wolf custom gear stuff. For example, that setup would allow a guy to literally hunt day in and day out, different spots, move with the deer, hunt different winds. If the wind shifts during an all-day rut hunt, you can move. I mean, so tools like that are going to allow a guy to be more successful, in that quest to kill, whether it's his first big buck or it's biggest buck of his life, or maybe it's just his first deer in general. I know a lot of guys that have reached out to me that they're just trying to kill their first deer with a bow. And then that's exciting. I mean, that's a big milestone. So, if you're going to go on the gear side of things, I mean, a setup like that, where you can throw everything on your back and literally move day in and day out, I think that's really important. But like I said, that mindset mixed in with the patience and the persistence factor. I mean, I just think those two P words, you've got to have it in order to be successful. Yep. I think that's the main two keys. There's lots of other factors, obviously, but I think without those two present, I just, from my own experience, success and failures, without those two things, it's just hard to get it done. It really is. I mean, you just can't rely solely on luck. I mean, sometimes it just happens like that, but man, I haven't met anybody that consistently gets it done because of just absolute pure, just dumbfound luck. So,
Kurt, dude, good question, man.
That'd be my answer.
Yes, sir. All right. Later, guys. Thanks.
Hey, have fun shooting your bow, buddy.
Appreciate it, my man.
Practicing. You're going to need it. I'm going to bring in...
Thanks, man.
Clint, dude, I'm running you through these freaking callers because we got one more in that's been in here for a half a minute now, and by half a minute, I mean 12. We got Ron Cox in North Carolina, so I don't know if you know who that is. I don't, but I'm going to bring him in right now. Ron, you're live on the Where to Hunt podcast. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
What's going on, gentlemen?
How you doing?
How we doing
up,
today?
My man?
We're doing good.
Hey, chat. That's what's up. I got hold on. Shabine to East Coast. I know they listening still. They listening still.
There's my scotch today.
It's not don't get me wrong, it ain't actually Shabine because I do live in North Carolina, but you get the gist.
I think Clint's
hell yeah, that's awesome. But Shabine, good shit. Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, what's going on, gentlemen? I was hoping to have everybody on the line and break that record. What was the record? 5?
Yeah, it gets kind of weird when I got like 5 people at the same time. It's like it's a lot to manage for me. So I've been trying to
chaos. It's like chaos.
Instead. Yeah.
I feel you. Well, cool deal. No, I just want to get on and shoot the breeze with y'all.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for calling.
It's my first time on a podcast. I missed y'all last week. I was hoping to get under Garrett's disclaimer because, sometimes shit happens.
And we swear a whole bunch. Yeah, Modern Assassin and I
that's what I'm saying.
Lobbing F-bombs like grenades at the audience, man. Just
that's what I'm saying. So I was trying to slide under that umbrella of his, but
we were just
anyways,
talking about
like I said,
the bear hunt and mental toughness and like the approach and D-Rock and Kurt both had great questions. How many states have you hunted, Clint?
Oh, I've never actually sat down.
Numbers are hard to count.
Man,
it's okay. Take your time.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I've been, over my way, like Pennsylvania and West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. Then you start going west, South Dakota, North Dakota, Kansas, Montana, Idaho, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, Missouri.
I'm at 14 right now.
Been to Canada twice. I'm trying to think. I don't think I'm missing anything. I'm trying to picture like the map right now, and I'm like thinking in my head like, okay, Indiana.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I don't think I missed any. I'm pretty sure that's I'm pretty sure that's all of them. I think.
That's like
I
15
don't
or 16,
think
I think. I mean, technically Canada's a country, not a state, but, dude, that's...
Right, yeah. I've been Alberta and Saskatchewan up there. And then, yeah, it was hard because, I mean, I've done a ton of public land turkey stuff. Every spring, me and a buddy usually take off and go hit a couple different states. And so I was trying to, like, break it down by, like, Western stuff, deer stuff, turkey stuff, bear stuff. But yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, I guess I'm a like a hunting state whore. I kind of get around, I guess you could say.
Podcast slut, hunting state whore. Like, what other?
Well, that's all right. I
It's
feel
fine.
like a podcast whore, so.
Dude, I'm so glad you called into the show.
You know what? Exactly.
I'm just-
Everybody appreciates a good podcast whore, my man Ron.
Hey, I'm just being honest,
So you've
Hey,
heard of Clint, then
we always appreciate honesty.
you've listened to where he's
Right.
been before, right? You like the sloppy seconds, huh?
Hey, you take what you can get sometimes. You got to be a
The Where to
team
Hunt
player.
podcast is you take what you can get. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll be that podcast.
Right.
That's fun.
But so whereabouts in Montana do you go? Because I used to live in Montana. I grew up there, so.
Yeah, man. I
Serious.
mean, I've hunted
In
around
general.
like Ennis. Yeah. No, I mean, I've hunted in and around like like not far from Bozeman and Ennis. And then I've hunted like the eastern side quite a bit. So yeah, kind of like that whole stretch. I mean, in and out, just different spots, different pieces of public and whatnot. Man, that eastern Montana, there's just so many muleys out there, and I actually shot my antelope out there last year. Oh my gosh, I've never ran into so many stud antelope bucks in one hunt. I mean, they've just got some phenomenal freaking bucks out there. And then you get more into like the breaks area for elk and different things, and just some great elk hunting across that state. And there's certain pockets of muleys there. And yeah, I mean, Montana is I got two really good buddies that live there, Dan Hebron and Brian Barney, and I've always said I'm probably going to end up retiring out there.
Dude.
And being able to kick it with those guys. Oh yeah, I mean I absolutely love that state. I mean, I fell in love with it the very first time I went out and hunted bears with Brian a couple springs ago. I've never felt more at home in a state than I did out there. I mean, I don't know,
Right.
man. It's just like that's just one of them states that I was just like, I just felt like it was created for me, and like that doesn't even like. A lot of people's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I can't even explain it because it's just hard. But like when I'm in that state, I just feel like I'm supposed to be there.
Right. No, I feel you on that. I mean, I would not go back growing up there. But as far as hunting's concerned,
Yep.
man, talk about being spoiled.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
pure
for sure.
spoiled.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
just-
so much.
There's just no
so much to
comparison.
Nope, there really isn't.
Yeah.
There truly really isn't.
Yeah,
Nope.
I'm just trying to figure out this whole whitetail situation, but I miss me a muley. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna pretend. There ain't a prettier deer out there to me than a nice muley.
Oh, I'm
And,
with you, dude. I'm on a muley quest right now, like no other.
Mm.
Yep,
Right.
I've got a whole schedule of mule deer hunts lined up for this fall, my man. Like, I'm on a muley quest. Like, that is all I think about on a daily basis is those freaking floppy-eared, big, wide bastards. I absolutely
Yes,
love them.
sir. Yes, sir. And it's just a whole different world. Like, I got out here, and the first time I was like just walking around the woods like I would back home, and yeah, it's just apples and oranges. The way to go about it, and that was
Absolutely.
a hell of a learning curve.
Well, yeah, my man, you'll have to make sure you keep us in the loop this year on your deer season. We'll be looking forward to seeing you behind a couple of them, my man.
Yeah, Ron, hit us up
Yo,
on Instagram
for
and stuff. We're pretty active there for sure, and Facebook too, obviously, because we're watching there. But I'm gonna
Right.
move on here, make some other callers and stuff, and dive back in. Dude, thanks for freaking calling in. That means a ton to me, man. I appreciate that shit a lot.
Cool deal. No, hell yeah, dude. I appreciate y'all having me on. This was my first podcast, and I appreciate y'all being easy with my virginity of it. So, you know.
You got it, man. Hell yeah. You have a good
I'm
night, bud.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, Ron. This was your first virgin run. Next time I'm gonna ride you a little harder.
I wouldn't expect no less.
My man. Have a good night, buddy.
Yes, all right, buddy. Y'all be good.
You too, Ron. Take it easy.
Dude, you're drumming up the calls, freaking Clint. Look at you go, buddy.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. They must either think you and I sound sexy together, or everyone's bored and has nothing better to do but listen to you and me. Either way, we'll take it.
Yeah, you got a face for radio for sure. I mean, I can tell. Dude,
I don't know about a face. Maybe it's just a voice.
Well, right. That's the joke of it, right? Freaking.
Hell yeah, I know. I knew you got it, but I thought I better explain it for everybody.
So what? Let's back up. What were you chatting about before we got the mountain of calls coming in? Dude, we were talking about just like your approach to how you go about it, and
yeah.
Maybe let me back up a little bit. You know what I'm struggling with? Let me make this really fucking selfish. You know what I'm struggling with is you just listed off 15 to 16 different places that you've hunted geographically, different states, countries, etc. I've hunted Wisconsin. That's it.
Yep.
How do I bridge that gap, man?
Yep.
How do you where do you start, man? Like, where do you start to get out of state tags, licenses, scouting,
Yep.
airfare, driving, packing? Dude, it's a freaking topic that I'm going to deal with because that's who I am, but I'm not there right now, and it's frustrating me a little bit. You talk about opportunities. Look at all the opportunities you have because you're hunting all over the place, One state might have a longer season, different season.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll let you answer the call.
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's a great question, and I'm actually working on an article right now. Can't really tell you when it's going to drop, but I'm working with, I'm working on putting together kind of almost like it's going to be an article, but then I'm going to have like a video segment to go with it, just kind of about how to prepare for like an adventure hunt as far as, like what I pack, what I bring, covering the airplane stuff, and then, where it all started for me is I literally got tired of just hunting deer and turkey here in Ohio. I'm like, I need more. I want to make my bow season last longer. And the easiest way to do that is start hunting states that open up in August. So I started looking into out west stuff. I can hunt antelope August 1st. I can hunt mule deer August 15th. I can hunt et cetera, et cetera. And that's where, for me, I started diving into the big pond, that I like to call it, of adventure bow hunting. And it's a big pond that you've got to break down into segments. What I would suggest for a guy like you or anyone listening who wants to get into hunting another state is I would start yourself off small. You live in Wisconsin. So let's not plan a trip for you to go clear to New Mexico next year. Maybe you're going to travel and hunt whitetails during the rut on public in Ohio. You're going to travel a couple states away, or maybe just one state away. You're going to go to, pick a state around you you're going to go to.
Just pick
From
Minnesota,
there,
right?
it's all about...
Or Michigan or something, right?
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. So let's say you're going to go to Minnesota. What I would do come winter time to first of the year is I would start picking apart that state, looking at, your state record logs as far as, okay, which areas producing deer? Where, let's start with deer numbers. Where is the best odds for me to get into deer? You're probably going to be hunting public land unless you can find some private, which, not saying you can't or can't, but most people that hunt out of state, they're going to hunt public. I mean, that's typically what I'm hunting 99% of the time. Yep. So I'm going to start looking at, okay, where are the deer numbers in the state of Minnesota? If I'm you. My next thing is going to look at the record books on, okay, where are the big bucks coming from in that state? And now I'm going to start to correlate the circles of good deer population with good numbers. And I'm going to start circling whether it's the state's broken down into units or the state's broken down into sections. A lot of out west everyone talks about different units in Colorado, different units in Montana. However they break the state down, you want to start to look at the different individual spots of public land on these different sections of the state that are going to pique your interest with good deer numbers plus good genetics. From there, it's going to then be a matter of you actually saying, okay, I'm going to start picking these spots apart, on Google Earth. Or I use Onyx Hunt like it's going out of style. I mean, I literally live I live on Go Hunt. I live on Onyx, and both those. Eastman's Hunting Journal has the MRS section for the out west guys, where Guy and Ike Eastman and Brian Barney and all those guys, they literally break states down out west, unit by unit, state by state, and they give you an entire graph of information to help you narrow down. And that's kind of what you're going to do if you wanted to go hunt. Like I said, we're talking about, speaking of Minnesota, that's the state we picked for you. You're just going to have to, break that state down into small little pieces. It's a big picture when you look at it, but when you start to break a state down, it's honestly not that bad, because you're going to start to cancel out, okay, the northeast section of the state, it has nothing to behold to me. I'm not even going to look at it. We're going to exit off. Okay, the southwest portion of the state does not have anything that looks appealing to me. We're going to exit off. So now you're down to two sections of the state. The northeast corner looks like it's the best. It's got some timber mixed in with some farm ground. I like to hunt that. That looks good to me. Okay, I'm going to focus my efforts on these 5 or 6 areas that are here. Then you're going to break those areas down into, okay, that's 12 different public land units. Now, let's see, how easy is it to access these? Do I feel like people's going to be able to get into them easy? Do I feel like is there a lot of road access? And then you just start to break
you take that same process for the in-state hunts that you do, right?
Yes.
But you apply it elsewhere.
Yep.
I don't know why it's such a weird mental thing to think about a different state. I don't know if it's because of like room and board or just unknown, but that's adventure to me. And thank you for breaking that down, man.
I think people, including myself, I think they look at the big picture and they get almost overwhelmed with anxiety, because the big picture is the huge pond, but when you break it down into the little micro ponds, you figure out where the good fishing hole is. But
paralysis,
when you look at it
by analysis, is that the term, right?
Yeah, yep. And like for me, I think you'll find that once you start to do this, you'll get hooked on that process. Like, sure. I love tag season. I love December and January when I'm researching units. I'm looking to see what tags I'm going to apply for, because every state's different. When you start getting into draw hunts, like out west, you got to apply to draw a tag in certain units, versus some states have over-the-counter stuff like Idaho, where Colorado, like this year I had to cash in 4 points to draw the mule deer unit I wanted. So every state's a little bit different, but as you do it year to year, when I started like when I branched off whitetail hunting, it was Pennsylvania and Kentucky. Those were the 2 states I branched off into. They're a couple hours away. I could hunt them on the weekends. Pennsylvania, you cannot hunt Sunday, so I'd have to kind of tailor fit a Friday into a Saturday hunt, because that way I got at least a day and a half or 2 days. Kentucky, you can hunt Sundays, so I could leave on a Thursday, hunt Friday, Saturday, Sunday, drive home in 4 hours, still make it to work in the morning. I started branching off, hunting public, kind of getting my feet wet close to home, because it is scary to think about. Like, for example, here in 6 weeks when I leave for Colorado, it's 29 hours and 17 minutes. I know I'm a psycho. I've already got this down to the minutes. 29 hours and 17 minutes to the trailhead that I'm going to land at, park my truck, and hike in from. That's how far it is. And that's overwhelming, because you're leaving your comforts of home. I'm leaving my kids. I'm leaving everything to go live there for potentially up to 2 weeks, depending on how long it takes me to get it done. I'm not coming home until I get that tag punched. It's overwhelming. But if you start small and you start getting your feet wet, and I would suggest for people, go on an out-of-state turkey hunt, go on an out-of-state whitetail hunt. If you're a Midwest guy, just hunt another state on public. Get your feet wet. Get comfortable with learning how to dissect a map, how to use Onyx, how to use Go Hunt. Get comfortable with that, and then every year start adding another state to your list. Okay, I've branched off a few times. I've hunted some public for whitetails. You know what? I'd like to go to the Dakotas maybe and chase mule deer around. Or, you know what? I'd kind of like to go to Montana and chase antelope. You've already got your feet wet. You kind of know the process. Maybe you've flown on a plane with your bow a couple times now, or maybe you've drove. You kind of got a system down. Now you're going to branch a little further from home. You know, I think it's easier to transition that way into these adventure hunts than it is to go from Maryland clear to Colorado on your first out-of-state hunt and drive 40 hours and you're by yourself. And I mean, that's a lot. Yeah. I mean, that is like you're throwing so much on your plate at one time. You know, that is going to be overwhelming for, I don't care how mentally tough you are, how good of a bow hunter you are, how big of a Billy Badass you are. That is going to be overwhelming from start to finish. Like, I don't suggest doing it that way. I like getting your feet wet, little baby steps here and there. I think the process you'll enjoy more. I think you'll really enjoy the process of finding spots. Like I said, I mean, I get pumped when I start looking at maps and I start dissecting what units I'm going to break down and what states. Like this year, for example, just a quick rundown. I did Montana in May. I got Colorado muleys in August. I got Idaho elk in September. I got Utah. I drew a really good later on hunt in the middle of October for muleys in Utah. And then November, I'll be back to hunt the mule deer rut in November in Idaho, and then Arizona for coos deer / muleys and javelina in January. And people are like, how in the hell did you break all that down? But it's a system of, I've gotten to the point where I love it. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy the I call it, well, I'm not the only one that calls it, a lot of people call it e-scouting, but people hear me talk about e-scouting when you're using, you know, like the internet or online journals or your, you know, Go Hunt, OnX, you know, et cetera. You're e-scouting literally on Google Earth, on your computer, on your phone. It's fun. I mean, and I think you'll see once you start doing that, I you know, just from the little we've talked and what I know about you, I really think you'll dig into that and you'll love it. It's part of the process, and
you're right.
It's fun, man.
Well, real quick. So the hard thing about doing a call-in show is I feel like the interrupting fucking cow here, but we got one other caller calling in. He says his name is Seymour
hell yeah,
Bucks,
man, let's get him.
But I know who he is. And hey, Seymour, you're live on the Where to Hunt podcast. What's up?
Just been on hold for fucking 25 minutes for a fucking sticker, and now I'm on?
It was 11 minutes, you son of a bitch. What are you talking about? You got to learn how to count.
Fucking A. You guys really slow Pornhub. You really slow Pornhub down when you're on hold that long. You know that?
Hell yeah! Shout out to all the Pornhub girls.
All this shit and talk about dwarfs, big floppy ears, virgins, first time, and then you put a guy on hold for that kind of talk. God damn!
Hey, well, look at you made it. Man.
I love it.
We got to keep you in demand. You know, we got to make sure people want this.
I did.
If you hold for 11 minutes,
I'm
you must really want to be here.
I'm listening to this guy. Oh, I had my shirt off. I had my nipple pressed against my phone screen I was hard, man.
You worked hard for this.
I can feel it. I can feel that sense of urgency right through your nipple into my ears, my man. I can feel it.
No homo.
We got Jeff Yankee on the show with the Huntland podcast. Jeff, what's up, man?
Nothing. I'm just calling in here to get some tips on how I can harvest my first buck this year.
Shut the front door. You got more bucks on freaking walls than I know what to do with. Maybe you're
I had to call. No, they're all numbers, though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I had to call because you know what? I've listened to Clint, all these different podcast platforms. This guy's got more fucking energy than the Energizer Bunny. He just goes. He breeds confidence. He believes the shit that he talks, and that's what leads to success is when you're just a fucking nut job, passion-filled person that can't get enough of it, and it drives you to an entire another level to help others. So, Clint, Shabeen to you, baby. You're getting it done, and you're helping the industry and helping a lot of people have success and make memories. So my hat's tipped off to you, brother.
Well, hey, my man, I don't know if your goal there was to get my panties off or not, but boy, you fucking succeeded in that with all those kind words. I can't thank you enough, my man. Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I get started talking on this stuff, man, and I can't wipe a smile off, and I really honestly can't, not be pumped about it, because if I'm talking about bow hunting and I'm talking about, adventure hunting and I'm with good people and we're having, a good conversation, I mean, it's just something I live for. It's part of the whole gig, man. It's what's fun about doing podcasts and being a writer and doing this kind of stuff is I feel like I get to kind of give back, to people that are supporting me, and that's why I do it. I mean, I honestly do it to try to teach and help. And if I can take one guy this year that, emails me or direct message me and goes, dude, I listened to some of your stuff, shot my first buck this year, man, because I did this and I didn't quit and blah, 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 and you really helped me. Honestly, dude, like, you can throw everything else throughout the whole year that's happened to me out the window for my own success, because I feel like I accomplished more by helping somebody else achieve a goal. Like, that'll mean more to me than me going out and killing an elk or killing a mule deer or whatever, because I've already been there. I've got to experience that stuff. And there's a lot of guys out there they're chasing that first time or that first experience, or, man, hey, I never wanted to venture out of my state, but I heard you on a podcast, and dude, I'm in Idaho right now elk hunting, and I freaking love it. I'm going to do this every year. Thanks. Like, that's the kind of shit that really honestly gets me going, is it's just, if I can share my passion and explain to people how awesome hunting and bow hunting and adventure hunting is, and it gets just one person into it this year, I feel like I did more by doing that. I feel like I accomplished more by doing that than I ever will by anything that I get to harvest myself. So, hell yeah, man, hats off, dude. I really appreciate you calling in, and, fuck yeah, man, I appreciate the support from everybody, no matter who it is or, how big, how small, how...
You got to fucking surround yourself with like-minded people, and it just takes you to an entire another level. I mean, I was fortunate to, hunt and learn from a lot of good people in this industry, and it's like, you know what? Just because you might not be sharing a tree stand or something, you're going to fucking share that knowledge, and if it's marking up maps or sitting there talking to somebody on the phone, just remember that shit keeps getting passed on to another generation, and that's exactly what people need to remember.
Yep. Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm a fucking, when it comes to it, I'm just a tactic nut. So, I've got to pick your brain a little bit on this.
Hell yeah, man.
All right, man. When it comes, everything I do revolves around bedding, okay? So what's your number one thing you're looking for, and what kind of country are you hunting off first? Are you getting the farm, the ag, hill country? What do you sport in early season?
So yeah, so early on, man, I like working from, the outside in. I don't typically go in, real deep. Summertime stuff, man, I do a ton of, I'm behind the Maven optics and the Maven glass all the time. I'm lucky I got a lot of ag around, but even big wood stuff where glassing's not going to be effective, like trail cameras and different things, man.
Big woods and ag country, that's what you have. You're pretty flat when it comes to topo.
Yeah. I mean, here in Ohio, I mean, where I'm at, there's not a ton of elevation gain or loss. I mean, it's a lot of rolling farm country. So I mean, I'm able to watch a lot of deer in ag fields and stuff and kind of see what's around. But there are pieces that I have where it's just big woods and there's not a lot of ag around me. So I've got kind of two different strategies there. As far as, obviously I can glass, like right now, bean fields, alfalfa, clover. I mean, that's the ticket right now to finding all your local deer. But there's some farms where I don't have that. So, I'll go and throw cameras up in May or June, that might be in a really good saddle or in a good funnel or a good creek crossing, a spot that I can leave my camera up for a month and a half and then come back in and look and see. And then, like the farm country stuff, I've got cameras along field edges where I can go in, slip out, not alert deer, not get detected. Obviously, I'm everyone knows I'm a huge wind guy, and I'm going to be cautious about when I go in to check a camera based off the wind. But as long as I got a good wind to go in, I can go in and check it.
Are you going in and finding all the beds?
Honestly, like for me, early season, when it comes to beds and stuff, I typically don't get too locked in on bedding areas until I start in on that like October, mid to October, heading towards the pre-rut type stuff. And only because for me, I found that the edges really can produce if you're hunting, deer that aren't super pressured. So I don't typically dive in, but I will say though, there have been a few instances where I've had bucks start to kind of lock up on me and stage up back in around bedding, and I've had to dive in because my cameras or my own personal sightings just weren't showing that these bucks were going to actually move to me and get to these edges. So I had to dive in.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, and there's so many different features that you can key in on. I mean, when oaks start dropping, when crab apples are getting ripe, I mean, there's a million different tucked away food sources that are back tighter and closer to bedding. And then sometimes you just get those old stubborn bucks that they just don't like to move off those beds until it's freaking dark, and you have no choice to move in tight to them. And I like to, I'm a particular buck type of guy. I love to pick out a buck or two every year. Those are my target bucks. And I like to play I'm only going to hunt this buck or that buck game. I mean, that's just I've fallen in love with that cat and mouse game. And October is my favorite frickin' time of the year to kill a big one because he can be patterned. I don't believe in the October lull. That's total lazy bullshit excuse to not hunt and go watch football games. I love football. I'm a gigantic Oklahoma Sooners fan. I know I live in Ohio, and all the Ohio people right now are rolling their eyes, but fucking Boomer Sooner all the way. I will record those games and watch them when I get home. In October, my ass is in a tree, especially on those red moon nights or nights when those fronts are coming in and coming out. In October, man, that is my ticket. I love that month. You give me 1 month to kill a specific buck, I'm taking October hands down over any other month because you can pattern and kill a buck in October if you do it the right way.
Hashtag fuck the law.
What time do you open? What's your open season date down there?
We're always the last Saturday in September. Some years that falls on September 24th. Some years that falls on, I think this year it's the 29th. So we always get a few days at least in September to hunt.
See, with ours, I hunt in Wisconsin and Minnesota a lot, and both of those are September 15th openers, and I've had a tremendous shit ton of luck when they're still on that pattern from bed to food.
Oh, yeah.
If I can find, and I do the same thing you do, sit there, observe, get a pattern going. It's okay, well, the fucking normal bedding is going to be off this point. That's where they are on that wind. Hands down, and set up and only hunt it when it's the right wind. I think everybody makes that fucking mistake of, it's the wrong wind, and then hunt it, and guess what? That buck was never there, so you burnt it and stunk it up, and he's not even there. But when you were talking about your more farm country bedding and shit like that and where you hunt, I think that's some of the hardest shit out there. Everybody's preaching about hill country and how they're on the top third, lower third, on the point or whatever, but that bedding is fucking everywhere, and it can be because all that food is coming in, beans at different times, corn at different times, and until they're pressured, and then start acting like a dumbass and wandering around, for the rut and chasing shit. That's a damn hard type of terrain to cut your teeth on.
Yeah, and that's why I don't dive in until I kind of have a zone that's for sure he's staying in, because in farm country, I mean, I've watched, I've watched giants get up out of a fence row that's 100 yards long, 10 yards wide, and literally that son of a bitch was in there all day or multiple days. That's where he was bedding, a fence row.
Yep.
I mean,
thick shit with the wind blowing to the back. Yep. Eyeballs over the open.
And I tell guys all the time, and I preach this stuff, and I mean, all my buddies here at home, if they're tuned in, or I mean, they hear me talk about this, and I'm sure they're laughing and whatnot. But I mean, I keep a. It's like I'm fucking back in school for homework, but I keep a
fucking
journal.
Haters.
I keep a journal
of haters.
Every daylight picture. Yeah.
It's called the hit list,
haters.
No, it's called the hit list. Be careful.
That's right. A hit list. That's right.
No homo. No homo.
I keep a journal of every so every daylight buck picture, or every buck picture that is close within 5 minutes to daylight, or closer to daylight, or in daylight. I'm marking down on every one of those pictures, the wind direction, the time, the moon phase, and you'll see a pattern start to form. And I can't stress enough to people, everybody wants to hunt a wind that's right for them. And that is so ass backwards, because every one of these bucks has a wind for every spot that they bed in that they prefer to move on, and that's why they're bedded there. If that wind is not in that direction, they won't be there. They will bed somewhere different. And I feel like there's a lot of people that they get lost in the shuffle when I talk about this, because they don't truly understand until they really sit down and think about it, what I'm talking about. But when you start hunting a wind that's good for your specific buck versus the wind that's good for you, you will start to see more mature bucks, and you'll start to get more encounters with mature bucks, because there is a gigantic difference between what is right for you and what is right for them. And you have to run on the side of complete, utter fucking disaster when you're hunting a wind that's right for them, because chances are that wind will not be right for you, but you've got to be
just
able
an
to
off
make
wind.
it work.
Yep.
I mean, and I call it quartering a wind, and I've written articles about this, about how you've got to quarter that wind to where it's, there's times where I'm on pins and needles when deer are coming in, because I know I am splitting the wind with a fine frickin' comb on what's good for me, what's good for
yards,
them.
5 yards, yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. And and that's why, I've already talked about it, but I'm a huge mobile tree stand guy. The Lone Wolf custom gear setups, man, with Cody and Andre, those are game changers. And I have guys say all the time, dude, man, like, I know you love that shit, but you're probably getting it for free. I got to pay money. I'm like, listen, you don't need 10 of these stands. You need one. You need one mobile unit, and look at it as a tool. It is a tool. You're going to take that with you. Like, a mason has his tools he needs every day. A carpenter's got his tools he needs every day. A professional golfer's got his tools he needs every day. If you're going to be a mobile tree stand guy, especially farm country where every day is different based off the wind on where a buck's going to live, you need that tool with you to hang and bang today here, hang and bang tomorrow there. It's a mobile tree stand game in today's world, especially with guys that are hunting public, because, public used to be like a secret little gem. Nowadays it's not. So, you've got to be able to move with deer, get away from people, figure out these spots that aren't getting pressured, or spots that are overlooked that people are walking by. Like, the days of setting 15 or 20 stand setups up and just hunting those and just making it work, man, that's old technology. You don't need 20 lock-on stands. Like, when I was
by the way,
10 years ago,
I will add a shameless plug that there's an app called the Where to Hunt app to show you where other hunters are, so you can stay the fuck away from each other. Just throwing that out.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I mean. Like, there's so much to be said about the guy that's mobile and can change shit on the fly, especially when you're, I kind of got off on a tangent because of the wind, but I was just thinking back to last year, the night I killed my buck. 3 days prior to that, the wind was bad, and I literally had to get down, change trees, go 50 yards on the other side of a trail, and get set back up again. And 15 minutes later, I'm back in the game because the wind shifted. And with a regular setup, dude, that would have taken me 2 hours to rip that shit down, move it over. You're sweating. It's the rut's kicking. Like, time is valuable. You don't have time to be doing that shit. But if you can rip something down, quick, simple, move it, and be back in the game in 15 minutes, like, dude, that is a huge key to my success. Especially
hunt the fucking conditions. Hunt the conditions that you got. Thermals change all day long, so
Jeff,
you got to be mobile.
Dude, I'm gonna move us along. Jeff, thanks for calling in, man. See more.
Hell yeah,
Jeff.
Have a good
Appreciate
night, my man.
Take
Looking
care,
forward
bud.
to seeing
guys.
looking forward
What?
to seeing what you drop this year, my man.
All right, thanks, man. Send some shit over. We'll mark it up for you.
Hell yeah.
Later, boys.
Dude, we could talk till 2 a.m, and I bet you we'd have people freaking watching till 2 a.m.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome, my man.
That's one way to do it. I guess I could do that one of these damn days. But dude, let's hear about. Now you've had time to think about it. So if you don't have one, I'm gonna gut punch you over the phone. What's your most memorable hunt, Clint?
So, if I had to break it down to, like, I mean, there's been so many awesome moments that I've got to share with family and friends, and deer recoveries and turkey hunts and just different avenues. And we talked about this before we started the podcast, and I've been kind of thinking about it. And I mean, I really honestly think the game changer for me, as far as a moment in time where I really sat back and thought, wow, this is something that I'm never gonna forget. It's a hunt that I didn't even kill anything. It is the first time that I went.
Dude, this is cool. All right, I'll let you go on. Thank you.
Yeah, it's first time I went to Colorado solo by myself. Parked at the trailhead. I had a 12.5-mile pack in. Got into camp. Took me about 5 hours to get packed in. Was camping at like 13,000 feet. Was going to hunt in around 13,000, 14,000. And I remember getting set up that night. And I thought, okay, I'm going to climb to this top, the top of this big saddle that was kind of like off and back behind me. It was kind of close to camp, but I'm like, if I can get up there to the high point of that saddle, it'll be a good glassing point. I can glass both sides of the saddle. And I remember getting up there about an hour before dark. And, I'm 13 miles back in the Colorado backcountry, in the high country. It's the end of August. And I remember, muleys are coming out and elk are coming out and there's everything's coming out right before dark and feeding. And I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, like, I'm from Ohio, but I'm about to live back here for God only knows how many days by myself. Like, man, I'm really doing something here. And it wasn't a pat on the back like, oh, you're a badass because you're out here doing this. But it was 15, 20 years ago, I just never would have guessed I'd have been in that moment. And the hunting community and the hunting world that I'm in with the writing and the podcast and just the different people I've met and the whole deal has brought me to this point where I'm sitting on top of this saddle at about 13,500 feet. Not a soul around. I mean, I'm glassing and watching these frickin' muley bucks feed, elk come out and feed. And I remember walking back under the stars that night, heading back to camp. I stayed till it was pitch black. And I remember flipping my headlight on and heading back down the mountain. I had to drop an elevation about 1,000 feet to get to camp. And I just remember thinking, man, I'm doing something right now that the average guy will never do. Yep. I'm seeing stuff that the average person's never going to see. And literally, it's like it was breathtaking to me to be able to take in that moment and be like, man, like this, like hunting has led you to this right here, this moment, this time in present day. And it was gratifying to kind of know that, like, I was back there on my own and I had the skill set and the mindset to be able to live back there. And that was like the adventure ahead of me. And it was just one of those moments where I was just like, bow hunting has shaped me as a person. Like, and people will be like, oh God, let's not go into psycho mode here. But honestly, as a dad, as just a person in general, bow hunting has made me the passionate, driven, adventurous, patient person that I am when it comes to all aspects of life. And at that moment right there, I honestly remember sitting there being like, without adventure bow hunting and just without bow hunting in general, like, you would not be here and you wouldn't be experiencing this and you wouldn't have the skill set that I've got right now without doing this kind of stuff. And it was just one of the moments that I'll never forget, because it was like it was like it was the night before season opened the next day, and I just got into camp and I'm sitting up there and I'm taking this whole big picture in and I'm trying to break it down, and in my head I'm just like, dude, this is freaking awesome. Like, you've somehow made it here from small town USA, Ohio, and you're going to live back here like a freaking hermit and grind it out and try to kill a mule deer buck with your bow. And I don't know, man, it was just, that was 4 years ago.
That was a moment.
And at that point, yep. And at that point in time, I was still really digging and grinding, trying to get my name out there with the writing. Right out of college, I gave myself 10 years. I said, I'm going to go big or go home. I'm going to put every ounce of energy, every spare dollar into tags and gear and different things, and I'm going to try to make it. I wanted to be a full-time bow hunting writer. I mean, I wanted to say I'm writing for a magazine full-time, every issue, call it home base. And I'm freaking blessed, man, to write for Peterson's Bow Hunting full-time. I'm blessed to do freelance work for Eastman's Hunting, Eastman's Hunting Journal, Eastman's Bow Hunting Journal, Deer and Deer Hunting, Bow Hunter, a ton of different online stuff.
Man.
I mean, that's...
And it sounds like you went to school
that's
for it,
just
too,
been my dream, man.
Writing is not a strong suit of mine at all. Ask my wife. She's a teacher. She corrects a lot of my grammar for things like the Where to Hunt podcasts and posts and things like that. And I have the gift of gab. This is why I turn to audio, and I'm trying to do the same with what I'm doing. But dude, it's so cool to hear that it doesn't happen overnight, dude. It's a fucking grind, and you have to be dedicated.
Oh no,
nope. And
eventually,
dude, you got to stick with it though too, man. Like you have, and look at where you're at.
Yep.
You said 4 years ago. What a blessing.
And I'll be the first person to admit. I mean, dude, I've been close to broke twice.
Yep.
Like not broke to where I couldn't live or survive, but broke to where in my head I'm starting to be like, all right, man.
The next, like when's payday? Oh my gosh,
Yeah. Well, just at the point where I gave myself a 10-year limit, and all my friends and family, like they've always known this. When I turned 20 and I was in college and I'm going to get my degree and stuff, and I told. Since I was little, I've been buying hunting magazines, and I can remember making my dad take me to get magazines and get stuff when I was 5, 6 years old, just barely able to even frickin' read. And I used to, they always joke because they're like, man, when you were little, you'd sit at the dinner table after you ate and just frickin' read Peterson's Bow Hunting or Deer and Deer Hunting or whatever the Outdoor Life, Field and Stream, cover to cover, and you'd always say, I'm going to be in these one of these days. Someday you guys are going to read. And it's like, I've always had that in the back of my mind. And around the time I graduated high school and got into college, I really gravitated towards, man, I think I can do this. I really think I can do it. And I set a timeline. I said, okay, from 20 to 30, I'm going all in. I'm going to go all in. And I'm still farming. I still work for the County Highway Engineer Department full time, but I'm going to go all in with every extra ounce that I have and really try to make this happen. And it's one of those things where I was close a couple times to throwing it in, because I'm just like, man, it's just maybe I need to just go back to hunting and just do that and not try to keep making it in the industry. But there was just always that little bit of me that was like, nope, man, you said 30 is the cutoff, you got to take it till 30. And turned 30 last November 6th. And I mean, honestly, I can say in the last 2 years, it's been a huge life-changing deal for me, just with the industry and the writing. And I mean, there's so many different platforms that I've jumped on and been able to make great friends and help me along the way. I mean,
when you're on the Where to Hunt podcast.
Well, that's absolutely Where to Hunt podcast. And, I mean, my, Kurt and all the dudes like Working Class Bow Hunter, man. I mean, there's just so many good guys out there that I've met and have helped me get to where I need to be. And it's like, I could go on for an hour thanking people and whatnot. But yeah, man, even just like Working Class Bow Hunter, dude. Like, I mean, what the platform that they've allowed me to come on and be able to, do the Camo Crawler blog for them and do podcasts with them and go to the shows with them. And, it's just, it's freaking awesome, man, to be able to do what I do. And it's taken me, the better part of 10 years to get there, but so worth it, man. I mean, so worth it to be able to give back and be able to write and podcast and do like what I'm doing with you tonight. I mean, I love hearing guys call in and oh man, we love your energy, and we love reading your stuff. We love to hear you talk on the podcast, and man, we're super pumped about the season. Like, if I can motivate people to get pumped about something, like, that's better to me, like I said earlier, than me going out and killing something. I mean, I've already been there and done that. Like, I've lived in those moments, but if I can get other people to get in those moments that I've been in, that's truly why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want everybody to be able to, like, I always say, I wish people could walk in my shoes and see what I've seen over the last 10 or 15 years. Like, I truly wish I could take everybody with me on some of the hunts I've been on and seen and experienced what I've experienced, because it would be life-changing for so many people. Because it was life-changing for me. I mean, it really, truly was. That Colorado hunt changed me as a person, like, as crazy as that sounds. When I left that hunt, didn't fill a muley tag, but I left that hunt like a better person because of those mountains I was in for 9 days. And it's just like, that stuck with me as probably like one of the most memorable experiences hunting wise of like my life.
Dude, I dig it, man. And it gives me, not that I don't need believe me, I don't need the ambition and motivation, but for me, it's problem solving. How do I figure out some of these things? And I can't wait to find myself in a similar situation. To me, I believe it's going to be Montana that does that for me. I feel like the state's literally calling me. And Colorado might be one of those states too, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I just
for sure. Yeah.
It's good to hear that coming from you, man.
Everywhere in Colorado is a picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe with a stoner, but I don't know. Maybe with a mountain. It depends.
Oh yeah, dude. Everywhere's a picture up in the high country, my man. Yeah, it's gonna be fun too. I'm pumped to see that progression and kind of hear your take on experiencing some of this different states and different places and different things. And it's gonna be cool to be able to kind of relive these moments through you. Just because I remember the first time I left home and went to Kentucky and Pennsylvania, and it wasn't a huge deal because it was only one state away, but to me it was a huge freaking deal because I'm like, never hunted here. I'm on my own. Yeah. I'm on public. I'm using I can remember using a kayak in Pennsylvania to get down this river system to get to this one really good spot I wanted to hunt on public, because I didn't think many people in the dead of winter would want to be kayaking in 10-degree water like an idiot like me. And I mean, just stuff like that. I think back about it. I'm just like, I was so jacked to get in that kayak and go down that creek. And realistically, like, I wasn't thinking about, well, what if you hit a deadfall under the water you don't see and you flip your kayak and you die of hypothermia back there? You know what I mean? But at the time, it was like, I was so pumped about man.
And my wife would kill me for that kind of stuff now, but it's also part of who I am. It's what she loves and hates about me, probably. But dude, thanks so much for being on the show. It means so much to me. Like I say every time I get a guest, I can't believe people are willing to spend their time talking to some goofball like me out of Wisconsin. But I'm happy you were able to connect with some of the callers. We got to hear from some great guys, Kurt and D-Rock and Ron and Jeff and AKA Seymour. Dude, it means a lot to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. And speaking of Kurt and just, with him with Working Class Bowhunter, they got a gig going on right now. I know I've talked about the Lone Wolf Custom Gear stuff. Yep. I know if you punch in the code WCB right now on stands, you're getting a percentage off. And if you use Undercover 50 for the cameras, which those undercover trail cameras, man, I'm getting ready to do a big Instagram, like not a takeover, but sort of like a takeover type of deal about those cameras and that stand setup and how I'm using them. And I've been testing them. I've been, I've had them for a while now. And I really want to go over my method of why I'm using them and why they work and why they're worth people's hard-earned money and investments in. But, yeah, man, use those codes. Check that stuff out. If you're skeptical, I'm going to have some stuff coming down the pipe on Instagram. Casper Clint, look me up. Facebook, Clint Casper. I'm going to have some stuff on all that gear. And as season, creeps up closer and closer, I'm going to have more and more gear-related stuff on my Western setups and what I'm taking, and probably going to do a Kafaru bag. Probably going to do my Kafaru Hoodlum bag dump. Basically dump everything out of my pack for that Colorado hunt. And, yeah, my man, like I said, love giving back, love being on the podcast platforms. Pumped I got to come on and bullshit with you, and everybody that called in, everybody listening. I'll speak for you and I both. We support the hell out of you, and we love the support as well. So yeah, man, pumped to be here. Super. I'll be jacked to get back on. Hopefully, it's after I stick about 195-inch freaking 4x5 in Colorado still in full velvet. That's what I'm thinking.
Your next memorable hunt, dude. I appreciate that shit, dude, for sure.
Well, it's always nice to have a plan, and that would be nice if the plan went like that. So, we'll see.
It's awesome, man. Dude, I appreciate it a whole bunch. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Much love for everybody.